Hi, it's Joe Neighbour at Signal Centre. It's Monday the 25th of November, and I'm going to run through some charts for you all today on indices. Going to cover the FTSE 100, DAX, NASDAQ, US 30 or Dow Jones, and the S&P 500. Just give you a bit of a flavour of what I'm looking at the on these charts for the week ahead. So going to go straight into the FTSE 100. Just share my screen. So I'm looking at the FTSE 100 chart here. I've got 4 charts set up. I've got the weekly, I've got the daily, 4 hour, an hour. I'm not going to go down to the 60-minute time frame on this chat today. So just going to start off with the weekly. Really just continuation of what I said last week, expecting some choppy trading conditions. We're in this bullish channel, but there's not really any sort of decisive price action either way as it stands at the moment. I would say the medium-term bias is mildly bullish, but while we're below this 61.8% at 74.52 from these highs here on the week starting the 29th of July to the week starting the 30th of September, we're trapped in here at the minute, and below these levels here, I think we're going to continue to see more range-bound price action. So that's the weekly look at the FTSE. If we then take a look at the daily, I said last week I was looking at this potential head and shoulders top pattern that I think is forming on the daily chart. It is only potential, as I'll stress again, until we break the neckline at around about 7,000. So just a potential emerging pattern at this stage. Again, you can see this 61.8% level and some resistance around here between sort of 74.40 up to 74.60. So I think that's the key zone that the FTSE needs to come up to get above. We've also got some lower highs that you can see from this trend line from the highs on the 29th of July. We need to get above that, and then immediately we're going to hit into this cluster of resistance. So need to see the FTSE above there before I am going to be getting overly bullish on the outlook for the UK markets in the short term. Obviously, from a political point of view, we've got ongoing election campaigning going on, and no real clear indication of which way that's going to head. At the moment, it looks as though Conservatives are in a comfortable lead, but that may change. And of course, the bookmakers may get that wrong. So difficult to call at the moment. This is the 4-hour chart. Again, it just highlights this range that we're trading at the moment. I've got a bit of a channel or a wedge that I've drawn on. This was my intraday trade idea today, which was to sell the FTSE at 73.80, basically at this the resistance here and this lower high that we've bumped into this morning, looking for a pullback down to 72.75. So that's a very short-term view there. But overall, I think more choppy trading conditions in the FTSE 100 this week. So we will wait and see. Moving on to the DAX, much more bullish on this as it stands at the moment. This is the weekly chart, and we've got this nice bullish channel that we continue to trade within. There's no signs of that stalling at the moment, although there was a doji candle posted for the last 2 weeks actually at the top of this channel. So that may suggest that we are running out of a little bit of steam here in the very short term, but clearly the underlying trend for me remains bullish. If we can get above this 13,600 level, then I think that really opens it up even more on the upside for the coming weeks and months. Looking at the daily chart, again, we've got this bullish channel. Looks as though price is being contained within that for now. A little bit of choppy price action over the last few days, no real direction, but expecting some support to come in around about 13,000 on the DAX. If we do break below that, then we could see a corrective move back to the lower end of this channel on the daily setup. On the intraday basis, I've got an expanding wedge here on the 4-hour chart, so just really looking to play some small moves on this, I suppose. Looking at the Fibonacci levels, we've rallied into this 61.8% level at 13,250. Posted a doji, haven't had a little bit of a look above it, but look as though we're coming back lower again today. So expecting really price to gyrate between here with no definitive trend either way. So there could be some opportunities for scalping, but no real sort of trend-based analysis or updates that I can give you on the DAX for now. So just be careful with that as it stands. Looking at the US markets, NASDAQ coming off 7 weeks of gains. It posted a small decline last week with a bit of a doji up at new highs. So some indecision, some profit taking possibly. Looking for any sort of pullback towards 80.30 to be bought up, in all honesty. We've got US Thanksgiving on Thursday this week, so that can make the markets very quiet. There won't be any trading pretty much going on at all. towards the back end of the week. People tend to take the Friday off as well as a holiday, and that will be Black Friday in the United States, so a big shopping day for US consumers. So not expecting an awful lot, really just more of the same. Probably the index just grinding higher with the lack of volume and activity. This is the daily chart. As you can see, there was this push up to new highs. We've had a little bit of a correction lower, but look as though we're going to open up on the front foot today, as it looks in the pre-market at this moment in time. This is the 4-hour chart. Pull back to support around about 82.20, and that's held, and we are pushing higher once again. So don't be surprised if we see the market continue to grind higher and make new all-time highs at some stage this week. This is the US 30. Again, start with the weekly chart. Nothing really there that's changed on the outlook. It's still trending higher. We're still trading up at all-time highs. A doji posted last week with a small loss, but I think just a pause for breath really before more upside is seen. Of course, that could change with regards to any sort of details we get on the trade deal front. This was the daily chart last week, and it did actually post a bearish outside candle on the 19th, which is often considered a reversal. There was a little bit of follow through to the downside, but not an awful lot, and the buyers have again re-emerged, and again we're set for a higher open with the Dow Jones today. This is the intraday chart, or the 4-hour chart, so just a pull back to the lower end of the channel, looking pretty strong still for me, and I think a move to new all-time highs cannot be ruled out this week. And of course, again, like the NASDAQ and the S&P, it should be quite quiet trading conditions ahead of Thanksgiving. This is the S&P, again, new all-time highs, again, another doji posted with some small losses, but no threat to the underlying trend there on the weekly. On the daily, there was no powerful reversal like there was in the Dow Jones, so things have continued to grind higher, again, expecting to see a new all-time high there probably this week. On the short-term chart, on the 4-hour chart, you could argue there was a break of trend earlier in the week and that we are seeing a retest of that, but there's been quite a push up this morning already, so I don't think you can try and back against that at this stage. I'm certainly not going to be doing that, and it will just be a case of looking to buy dips for me in the US this week and just try and get hold of a position and try and run it into the weekend and hope that it grinds higher with the lack of volume. So that pretty much rounds up all the indices that I'm looking at this week. We are looking at a few others, such as the CAC 40 and a few of the Asia Pacific markets, but nothing's particularly stand out for me to look at or to talk to you about today. So hopefully if you're trading indices, you'll have some good luck and some good fortune and catch some good moves. And I'll be back next week for another roundup on the indices. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.